So hey everybody, it's TR. Just left my dad's house, headed for Tucson. It's, according to Google Maps, it's 1,217 miles, and it's estimating my arrival time at 2:12 a.m. I am considering driving this in one stretch. We'll see how it goes. Last year when I did this drive, by the time I got to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, I was kind of tired of it. So anyway, the basic crux of this video is going to be a review of 2018. And we kind of take a look back and just think about some of the good stuff and good things we saw this last year. I'm going to be doing that when it's safe to talk. I try to do these pretty safely. I don't want to be distracted. So where I'm at is I'm on US 412 in northwest Arkansas. I'm about, I think probably maybe 60 miles or so out of Springdale, Arkansas. So my route back to Tucson is pretty straightforward, really. We're going to take US 412. We'll take it all the way across to far western Arkansas near Siloam Springs. And then we're going to cross into Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, we'll pick up the Cherokee Turnpike. So we'll pick up I-44 in Tulsa. And then we have another turnpike. That's the Oklahoma Turnpike. And when I came through there, I think it was $4, $4.50, something like that. Let's see, I probably have it here. Yeah, $4.70. Wow, that was expensive for me. But I drove the entire length of it. $4.75 to drive the Oklahoma Turnpike. So, but it's the most direct and straight route, and it's going to be rainy today. I'm concerned about New Mexico. It might be snowy over there. I did check the roads, and they looked okay. And so it might just be rain over there too, because I think when I checked the weather in Albuquerque, it was going to be, let's see, we'll find out. What's the weather in Albuquerque like today?
In Albuquerque today, it'll be rainy, with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 26 degrees. It's currently 36 degrees and cloudy.
All right. Having fun with that. That'll keep me occupied for a couple hundred miles. Anyway, I'm going to just hush up here and pay attention to what I'm doing out here. Thank you. Good. How far ahead is that rest area? Awesome. Just in time. Thank you. So it's been raining cats and dogs really ever since I left Tulsa. And the wind is howling. There was a couple of stretches there through, I guess it was right after I got off the Cherokee Turnpike where I had to slow down. Felt like I was hydroplaning. But back up to the slowpoke 70 mile an hour speed limit through Oklahoma. I thought maybe I'd start to reminisce a little bit about the last year and take a look forward at the next year. And I imagine it's probably pretty noisy with wind and rain beating on the windshield, so I hope I can fix most of that. I basically winter in Tucson. If you watch my channel, you know that. And I left Tucson on the 25th of March. That was about a month early because I went over to the Ocotillo Wells area so I could visit Marengo Springs and some of those areas out there. And man, I just had a blast out there. driving around on the ORV area with Dusty the Subaru here. He's not dusty today, he might be muddy. But the Borrego Springs area was really nice. So I found out in March that a very close personal friend of mine had very serious cancer. Guy that I'd gone to school with, ex-roommate. I hired him to work at the engineering company with me, and actually he ended up buying my house in Idaho. But he passed away July 4th. But I decided rather than take the route that I was going to take, that I would just go ahead and bust on back up to Idaho. I wanted to be there on May 5th for the graduation of some young ladies, well, a young man and a young lady that are pretty close to me. So basically what I did is I just made the loop from Anza Borrego down to the Salton Sea, and then up, I guess that's through Palm Springs and up in that area, then picked up I-15 at Baker's Barstow, and headed on up to Las Vegas. I spent, well, what I was doing was dragging my feet a little bit because it was early May, or early April, and I still had like 3.5 weeks before I needed to be up in Idaho for the graduation. So I ended up, I guess I better slow down and pay attention here. What a storm! Wow! Just outside of Amarillo, and man, this storm is something else. Thunder and lightning all around. Whoa! Alright, see ya. Hey everybody, good morning. Day 2 of my trip from Arkansas back to Arizona. And boy, yesterday was a really tough driving day, I'll tell you what. Across most of Oklahoma, it rained, cats and dogs, and, well, everything. There was a couple spots there, we were down to 50 miles an hour just because that's out on the interstate. Just because the visibility was so low and there was so much rain falling. I got a little bit of footage of it, but I really didn't get a chance to do my year-end review like I wanted because I was having to pay too much attention to the driving conditions. As I got closer into Albuquerque, it really got rough. About 60 miles out, it started to snow, and by the time I got probably 30 miles out, there was a good 2 inches of snow on the interstate. And then the closer we got to Albuquerque, the worse it got, and there was one lane, sort of, you could barely see it, and not a plow to be seen on a 4-lane highway, 5-lane highway probably at least. So I ended up bailing and stopping at Albuquerque last night, and just finding a hotel there along the road. Talked to some people this morning who had the same impressions I did. It was a really tough day coming from the east. So I'm about probably an hour out of Albuquerque now. So let's see, where did I leave off? So I was dragging my feet, and so I went up to Vegas and spent a couple days in Las Vegas. I wanted to get the rig washed and do some things like that. And then I ended up going out to a place called Poverty Flats, which is a pretty famous boondocking, dry camping spot. that is out by the Valley of Fire, north of Las Vegas, probably 40-45 minutes. It's kind of over by Lake Mead. Oh, come on, dude, don't jam me against this freaking truck. So I hung around Poverty Flats for, I guess it must have been 10 days, and went over to the Valley of Fire, and I really like that place over there. I did go out and do some rock hounding. I didn't really have a lot of luck, so I'm not going to say much about it. So from Poverty Flats, I still had a couple weeks to kill, really like 3 weeks, before I was going to go to Boise and attend the graduation of some very close personal young friends of mine. And so I ended up going over to Beaver Dam, Arizona. And the reason I went there was because that put me close to the Beaver Dam Wash National Conservation Area and a place called Lytle Ranch.
So right down here below me is the Beaver Dam Wash, and this wash runs, quite a long ways up and down this little valley here. And then right over on the other side of that, where you can kind of see that open field, and you might be able to see a pickup and maybe a trailer or something over there. That's the Lytle Ranch Preserve. That is a BYU research center, if you will, for ecology and biology and those sorts of things. Here's the Mojave Desert Joshua Tree Road. I climbed about as high as I can climb here, so we thought we'd stop and just kind of take a look around at the vistas, which it's pretty amazing out here. I'll tell you what, pretty up here for sure. What you're seeing out here is the beginnings of the Colorado Plateau. So if you look out there, you can kind of see how there's those flat bluffs out there. On beyond out here, probably a little bit north and east of us is Zion. So down here in the valley, you're seeing some of St. George and Santa Clara. Those are all down in that area.
So from Lytle Ranch, it was up to Chief Mountain South. That's over on US 93, about, I guess it must have been 7 miles south of Caliente, Nevada. It's up there on the Silver State ORV Trail. And I stopped up there because there's an area up there that you can go and dig trilobites. And so one of the days I was there, I went down and I tried to dig up some trilobites, and I found a couple of small ones, but I didn't find anything really significant. So far I've been here about 2 hours. I haven't found anything yet. And the irony of it all was I was there digging, and I had walked around and looked on the surface quite a bit, so that's before I started digging. But I've probably been there digging 45 minutes, and this couple came up and they're walking around, and she walks right over and picks one up. It wasn't a good one, but it was a trilobite, and so I'm like, damn it. Anyway, that was really fun. While I was there, I think they called it the Silver State 300. And that was a 300-mile ORV race, and they were practicing. I was there the weekend before the race, and so a lot of the drivers were there practicing. I got some pretty fun video of that. transition from the Joshua trees to an area where there are cedars and junipers. And so it's very clear here over a period of about 2 miles as you drive up this dirt road here. So I took Dusty out on Sunday for a little bit of ORV excitement for himself. We went out and drove the Silver State ORV trail from basically the Trilobite site all the way back into Caliente. It was really fun. I really had a good time. Graduation and had some fun and visited with some close friends. And from there I went over to my buddy Don's house, my old house, and just basically worked as a handyman for a couple of weeks and took care of a bunch of stuff that needed to be taken care of there. Kind of getting the place ready for summer. He wasn't able to do any of it. And I was over talking to my friend Rick Ross from over at Ross Lumber. And of course he said, you know, anytime I needed a place to park, that I was more than welcome there. And I just was thinking, wow, that's nice. And we were just talking about my RV and some of the stuff I'd like to get done with it. I mentioned that I want to do the roof. And he says, well, hell, you can do that right here. We had joked with each other about as soon as I took that roof off, it was going to rain. So we did some rearranging in one of the shops, and I was able to get Rusty in and undercover, and I got the roof replaced this year. The reason I replaced the roof is because I was wanting to add additional solar. I had about 200 watts of solar, and it was old and tired. I think the panels were probably 14 years old. And so I was doing good to get 6 amps off of them, which is not a lot when you're trying to charge batteries. That 6 amps was basically what they call my parasitic load. That's my base load with just nothing turned on. That's just your basic 12-volt stuff running. So we just came through Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and we're headed south on 25 still. Mr. GPS says, what, 296 miles to go, so just under 300. And looks like 4 hours and 20 minutes. So I knew the outlook for my friend was grim. And I thought I'd better stick around in Idaho. So I spent quite a bit of time at the Hasper Fish Hatchery this year because it's a great place to dry camp, boondock. There's excellent fishing in the area. lot of that. I lucked into a reservation up at Henry's Lake State Park. So I ended up going up and spending about 3 weeks in the Island Park area. Then I got the sad news that my friend had passed away, so then it was back to Haysburg. So I spent 10 days at Haysburg, and then a farmer friend of mine called me from over in the American Falls area. He was looking for help, somebody to drive grain truck for him. And I said, hey, why not? I might as well. So that pretty much gets us through to about Labor Day. I'd moved over to the Bannock County Fairgrounds, one of my favorite places to stay in Idaho. So it's really handy to stay there, and I have a lot of friends in Pocatello, and so I like to get back and visit. And since I was in Idaho, I thought I might as well. So I'm trying to remember, I left Pocatello around the 9th or 10th of September, and headed south again, Provo Canyon, not Provo Canyon, yeah, Provo Canyon, US 89, south of Salt Lake City there, down into Green River. I had been wanting to visit that area. I had driven through there a number of times, and I knew there was good rock hounding, and I found some really cool fossils. I found some really cool fossils while I was out walking around, so that was worth the trip over there. From there, I was down to Moab. I had planned to boondock down outside of Moab, but I was kind of early, and it was really super hot, and I was tired of the heat. So I ended up moving into Moab to an RV park I'd stayed at before I called in, and they had a couple days. So I went in and lived on a couple days of hookups. And then from there, I went on down to Whistle, or what was that called? Wind Whistle, that's what it was. I went to the Wind Whistle campground and hung out there for a week, dry camp. Man, that was really nice up there, and the weather was perfect. You know, I was up at altitude at about 60, I think it was 6,300, if memory serves me correctly. So, and that put me near this overlook. I don't remember, it must have been the Wind Whistle overlook. I'll have to look at it, I'll put it below. But that was a really fun trip, and really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm actually out at a place called the Needles Overlook. I'm about, must be 35, 40 miles south of Moab, Utah. I'm actually staying at the Whistler's Camp. Is that what it's called? Let's see, where am I? Wind Whistle Campground. I'm at the Wind Whistle Campground. Yeah, that's it. And that's just a little bit off of US 191. I'm not, I might be 12 miles north of Monticello, Utah. And came out here to the Needles Overlook to just kind of check things out. It's pretty overcast. I'm kind of hoping that we get a really cool sunset. We should know here in probably another hour or so. So I think we'll just hang out and let you see some of the area around here. And let's see and hope that we get a really good sunset.
So a couple of years ago, my route south took me down US 191 through Moab, but I'd stopped at a place called Bluff, Utah, and I'd gone out and visited this area called the Valley of the Gods. And it's an amazing sandstone, you know, that red sandstone, typical Utah. I wanted to go out there and dry camp, so I found a spot out there that I could dry camp a couple of years ago. And so I went and actually went to that spot, but it threatened rain, and it's down a dirt road, and I was worried that if it got too muddy, I could get in trouble. So I thought I better move.
Well, I thought I'd sit here and do a time lapse on the sunset since my timing's pretty good, and I'm just outside of Bluff, Utah. It happens to be where I'm staying, and I think I made a good choice. Sure has been a pretty day.
So I moved into Bluff, Utah, and I stayed a couple days at the Cottonwoods RV Park. I'd stayed there before. Nancy's a really super nice lady that owns the place. And it's an okay park. I mean, you know, it's a gravel parking lot, but it is way far southern Utah. They don't get any rain, and water's expensive, so you know you don't grow a lot of grass down there. when I was at Bluff, I got some more disturbing news about a friend of mine in Tucson. So I ended up heading on down towards Tucson, but I took my sweet time because I knew it'd be hot. I got there around the first part of October. My normal parking spot for winter was full. There was a fifth wheel stored in it. So they ended up putting me in a different spot, and it was too hot. The sun was just cooking me. So I ended up asking the office if I could move, and they moved me over to a perfect spot. It's just two spots over from where I park normally for winter, but it's an amazingly good spot. Really liked it, and it was perfect. It had great morning sun, shade, protection. The afternoons got a little warm, but it was perfect. October was super rainy in Tucson as well. I think they had to go
In 2 miles, take exit 41 for New Mexico 26, Fort Hatch.
Perfect. So we're going to stop right up here. I think we had 2 extra inches of rain in October in Tucson, over and above what they normally get. And that's well outside of the normal monsoon season. So I guess we'll wrap this segment up since we're coming up on Hatch. And I'm sure to be running out of battery here anytime. We'll catch you down the road somewhere. So we're about 200 miles from Tucson. Back on I-10 now. Made a really quick trip across the New Mexico 26 there, cut the corner, so you don't have to go all the way to Las Cruces to pick up I-10. I think it saves you probably at least 40 miles. I've never looked, but it's a pretty good shortcut. Picked up a little extra project and got my aunt and uncle's 2007 Newmar Ventana 3331. It's a really nice coach. It's got the Banks kit on it. It's a real hot rod, really, when you compare it to my tired old coach. But I'll guarantee you, as soon as my warranty's off the engine, I'm going to get it chipped. I talked to a guy that had his chipped, and they make 400 horse. But for now, it's time to go. Thanks for watching. I sure appreciate it. Until we get together again. Peace.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals